Welcome to 4 Dharma Turn, where we guide you on a journey through the timeless teachings of the Buddha, unlocking the wisdom that transforms minds and lives. The teachings of Buddha, which have been considered one of the pillars of a religious tradition over the centuries, can be understood in a much more practical and scientific way. They offer a sophisticated set of methodologies that aim to reprogram the human mind, facilitate liberation from suffering, and realize the true nature of reality. This video explores Buddha's teachings' historical origin and practical application in human and spiritual development. Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, was born in the 6th century BC in Lumbini, a region now part of Nepal. Born into a royal family, Siddhartha was raised in an environment of luxury and isolation, protected from the harsh realities of life. According to tradition, his father, King Suddhodana, tried to keep Siddhartha from experiencing any form of suffering in the hope that he would follow the path of a great king. However, upon leaving the palace, Siddhartha encountered the so-called 4 visions: an old man, a sick man, a corpse, and an ascetic. These experiences profoundly impacted him, leading him to realize that suffering is an inevitable part of life. Motivated by this understanding, he abandoned his life of luxury and set out in search of a solution to human suffering. For 6 years, Siddhartha followed a path of extreme asceticism, believing that renunciation and self-denial could lead to enlightenment. However, he discussed that the enlightenment gratification of the body was not bringing him closer to the truth. Instead, he adopted what would become known as the middle way, a balanced approach that rejects both indulgence and severe deprivation. Under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, Siddhartha meditated deeply and eventually attained enlightenment. Upon awakening, enlightenment, the 4 noble truths, the interdependent nature of all phenomena, and the path to the cessation of suffering. From that moment on, he became the Buddha, the awakened one, and dedicated the rest of his life to teaching these truths to help others achieve liberation. The Buddha's teachings arise from his direct experience of reality, making them a philosophy and a practical method for transforming the mind. The essence of the teachings lies in understanding the 4 noble truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, which provide a detailed map for overcoming suffering and achieving nirvana. The Buddha used an empirical and reflective approach in which the practice of meditation and the cultivation of ethics and wisdom play a central role. His instructions were tailored to the capacities of different individuals, demonstrating a deep understanding of human psychology. This has allowed his teachings to remain relevant and applicable throughout the centuries, influencing spiritual development and the science of the mind. Buddha's teachings are a primitive but highly effective form of neuroscience and practical psychology. By directly addressing the mechanisms of the mind, Buddha offered methods validated by modern scientific research, such as mindfulness meditation, which has been shown to have profound effects on brain structure and function, promoting neuroplasticity. For example, the practice of the 4 noble truths can be seen as a process of mental reconfiguration. The recognition of suffering, first noble truth, leads to the investigation of its causes, second noble truth, which culminates in the adoption of practices that allow the overcoming of suffering, third noble truth, through the Noble Eightfold Path, fourth noble truth. Over the centuries, the Buddha's teachings have transcended their historical origins to become an applied science of the mind whose effectiveness is recognized in both the spiritual and scientific fields. They offer us a path to mental reconfiguration and realizing our highest potential, demonstrating that liberation from suffering is possible and accessible to all willing to follow the path with discipline and openness. The Buddha's teachings are vast and profound, offering a comprehensive understanding of life and existence. However, at the heart of his philosophy are a few central ideas that guide spiritual and mental development. Today we will explore these ideas, beginning with the 4 noble truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, emptiness, and the nature of Rigpa. The Buddha identified the essence of existence as permeated by suffering, or dukkha. This suffering is not only physical, but also mental and emotional, and arises from attachment and ignorance. The first noble truth, the truth of suffering, invites us to acknowledge this reality. The second noble truth, the origin of suffering, explains that this suffering arises from craving and attachment, deeply rooted in ignorance of the true nature of things. But the Buddha also brought a solution, the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering. he taught that it is possible to eradicate suffering by overcoming desire and attachment, achieving a state of total freedom known as nirvana. To follow this path, Heather thus the fourth noble truth, the path to cessation of suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is a practical guide to transforming the mind and life. It begins with the right view, which involves understanding the Four Noble Truths and the true nature of reality. From there, we move on to the right thought, cultivating altruistic intentions and renouncing desire. The path leads us to the right speech, which is communication based on truth, kindness, and helpfulness. The right action guides us to ethical conduct, avoiding harm to other beings. The right lifestyle suggests an honest way of life that does no harm to others. Right effort. Effort to cultivate wholesome mental states and avoid unwholesome ones. Right mindfulness is the practice of complete and continuous awareness of the body, sensations, mind, and phenomena. Finally, right concentration leads us to develop the ability to meditate deeply, reaching high states of meditative absorption, known as jhanas. One of the most profound concepts taught by the Buddha is emptiness, or sunyata. He taught us that all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. Nothing exists independently. Everything is interconnected through a web of causes and conditions. Understanding emptiness is essential to dissolving the ignorance that generates attachment and suffering. In Mahayana, this understanding is expanded to show that emptiness also reveals the fullness and interconnectedness of all beings and phenomena. Although the Buddha did not teach Rigpa directly, his teachings on the nature of mind and reality paved the way for advanced practices such as Dzogchen. Within this tradition, Rigpa is pure non-dual awareness, the primordial nature of the mind. The practice of Tread God, in particular, allows one to access Rigpa directly without the need for progression through the traditional stages of meditation. Though complex and profound, the central teachings of the Buddha offer a clear path to the transformation of mind and spirit. Through the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, the understanding of emptiness, and the practice of Rigpa, we can walk the path to pathidom from suffering and achieve profound inner peace. May everyone find inspiration and clarity in these teachings and apply them daily.